And just because y'all got a little tech guy on y'all side, some guy who, this Elon Musk guy, whatever he is, this tech guy who just happens to be allegedly a billionaire, okay? Anybody can be a billionaire if you know people who have, listen, if you know a billionaire, somebody with money, you can easily be a billionaire. All you gotta do is ask them for money.
There's always one. There's always one. In tonight's edition of Name That Trash Panda, we have Terrence K. Williams. And this useful idiot thought it was a good idea to do a mock interview with Ben Johnson, the guy who went viral for Sam Cedar owning his ass in the interview. You know, that guy. Cosplaying as Representative Jasmine Crockett. This dude thought it was a good idea to be yet another black man in a dress lampooning black women. I want you to think about that for a second. Jasmine Crockett, probably one of the most feminine and best-looking women in Congress right now, being played by a guy with a fucking mustache. And he thought that this disgusting minstrel show was funny, but he's too dumb to realize that it wasn't necessarily Jasmine Crockett that was the butt of the joke. It was him and his whole entire community that was the butt of that entire joke. The lace front, the accent, and the clothing pins that represents long nails, that's all supposed to send a message. And it's black men like him that are too stupid to realize that black women aren't the only ones out there wearing long fake acrylic nails. Asian women, the women that they're now breaking their necks to try to get, started the trend and has perfected it over the years.
Head down, nails down, head down, nails down. You know what the head down, nails down, head down, nails down. Don't tell me to the pipe down, head down, nails down, head down, nails down. You know what the head down, nails down, head down, nails down. Don't tell me to the pipe down. Just remain strip of the way, you're touched.
My point is this. Learn to think for yourself, fool. Quit being a ventriloquist dummy for their anti-black rhetoric. Quit letting them define your community for you, and learn to define your community for yourself. Quit turning your nose up at things when black people do it, and quit forwarding the stereotype that black women aren't feminine. Black women constantly get their femininity questioned, and it hurts more when we do it. To keep it real, to be really real, to be 100, you're an embarrassment, for real. If you want to impress your white friends, learn to play hacky sack. But leave black women alone. Leave Jasmine Crockett alone.
Disclaimer, this video contains racism and misogyny. Viewers' discretion is advised. Over the years, there has been a lot of men dressing as black women for comedic purposes. This trend is one that's not going away anytime soon. I personally feel men are too comfortable with sacrificing their masculinity for a couple of laughs. I would be lying if I said I didn't find any of this funny growing up. I grew up on characters like Shanae.
Tired of you, okay? Shanae, you have given me problems after problems.
Oh my God!
What happened?
Her breath! Have you been eating garbage?
Wanda.
Oh my God!
What's wrong with you? Can I get a beer? Can I have a beer? Dog, he act like he seen a baboon or something.
Medea.
How can you tell when a man is cheating on you?
You think your man cheating?
Yes, I do.
That's how you can tell.
Big Mama House.
Who the hell do you think you are? Coming up in here trying to put your nasty ass lips on me. Huh? I am not street booty. I will not be treated like street poontang.
I remember being in middle school binge watching creators like Blame It on Quay, Watermelon Drea, PD Lucky, taking over apps like Vine and YouTube at one point in time. And don't get me started on TikTok viral sensation Sabina.
You guys need to learn you guys have to clean up after yourself every time. Or I'm going to bring the trash to you and I'm going to shove it in your face. Because there should be no fucking reason that they're cleaning up after you guys. This is squaresy. What you looking at? Oh. So with that,
the humiliation of black women is one that is felt in differing aspects of society, from the effects of institutional misogyny and the lack of state support for lower income individuals to black women's personal experiences being mocked. I'm not trying to proclaim that Vine or any other social media platform are the direct cause for humiliation of black women. Rather, it's important to demonstrate how the normalized culture of making racial comedy skits supports the biases which lead to accepting the mistreatment of black women. It was once funny, but it's no longer funny anymore. But let's unpack this and talk more about it. What's up, you guys? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's your boy, Dr. Quinante, and I'm back at it again with another video. As you guys can see by the title today, we are talking about men cosplaying as black women for content. Y'all, this is nothing new. We've been seeing this for so many years now. I grew up watching Martin and Living Color, Big Mama House. Those were household names in my household growing up. And of course, I was introduced to these characters by my mom. I just kind of wanted to bring this conversation to the forefront because I feel like a lot of these men who their bread and butter is to put on a wig and to, put on this quote unquote black girl act. I don't think they understand how they're participating in minstrelsy. We're going to get deep in depth into the history of mocking black people, black women. We're going to get into the word minstrelsy. So before I even get into everything, I do want to give you guys a definition of it because I know some of y'all probably like, what the hell does that mean? Minstrelsy is where white actors in blackface play black people mockingly. I'm gonna say that again. Minstrelsy is where white actors in blackface play black people mockingly. Now, another reason why I wanted to bring this word up into the conversation is because I feel like it's not brought up enough. Black people now, when it comes to minstrelsy, they perpetuate it now. And when we see this, y'all, it's comedy. It's comedy, and a lot of us don't see nothing wrong with it. But as soon as we see a white person do it, it's a big deal, and that's why I feel like we as people have to understand that when white people see us clowning black women or whatever the case may be, they're gonna feel the need to do it too.
You know why black people run away when we laugh? Because we weren't allowed to laugh on those plantations. This is
Hint. What's the boy name, y'all? Landon Romano. So yes, like I said, we're going to get into the history. I want to talk about minstrelsy, and of course, as I talk more into this conversation, we're going to talk about the content creators who've done this for a living, and people. And some of these guys are still putting on wigs and making a lot of money off of mocking black women. Before we get deeper into this conversation, make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, show us support. I really appreciate that. And without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. Now, again, I'm going to be touching on subjects that are very sensitive. So again, if you feel like you're not comfortable with listening to some of this stuff, feel free to click off the video, okay? Because I don't want to, trigger anybody. Historian Dale Cottrell once noted that poor and working class whites who felt squeezed politically, economically, and socially from the top, but also from the bottom, invented minstrelsy as a way of expressing the oppression that marked being members of the majority, but outside of the white norm. Minstrelsy comedic performances of blackness by whites in exaggerated costumes and makeup cannot be separated fully from the racial derision and stereotyping at its core. By distorting the features and culture of African Americans, including their looks, language, dance, deportment, and character, white Americans were able to codify whiteness across class and geopolitical lines as its antithesis. The first minstrel shows were performed in the 1830s in New York by white performers with blackened faces. Now, y'all, they used to use burnt cork or shoe polish to get the black effect on their faces. It was crazy. And they also wore tattered clothing who imitated and mimicked enslaved Africans on southern plantations. These performances categorized blacks as lazy, ignorant, superstitious, hypersexual, and prone to thievery and cowardice. Thomas Dartmouth Rice, which is known as the father of minstrelsy, developed the first popular known blackface character, Jim Crow, in 1830. By 1845, the popularity of minstrel has spawned an entertainment sub-industry, manufacturing songs and sheet music, makeup, costumes, as well as a ready set of stereotypes upon which to build new performances. Blackface performances grew particularly popular between the end of Civil War and northern and Midwestern cities, where regular interaction with African Americans was limited. White racial animus grew following emancipation when antebellum stereotypes collided with actual African Americans and their demands for full citizenship, including the right to vote. The influence of minstrelsy and racial stereotyping on American society cannot be overstated. New media ushered minstrel performances from the stage across radio and television airwaves and into theaters. Popular American actors, including Shirley Temple, Judy Garland, and Mikey Rooney, doing blackface, bridging the minstrel performance across generations and making blackface racial parody and stereotypes a family amusement.
Coming for to carry me home. Oh, I come from South, from way down south, where the corn and potatoes used to grow. There's great big elegant pictures show, and my old Kentucky home is a French chateau. Way down south in Dixie, swing low, sweet.
Hey, I think we got something there.
Fast forward to today's time where you see black people also participating in minstrelsy, whether it's in movies or social media skits. This is where male comedians come into the conversation. For years, actors and social media personalities have profited millions from simply mocking Black women. It's a recurring refrain in Hollywood that in order for a Black male comedian to truly make it big, he seemingly has got to put on a dress. Martin Lawrence and Jamie Foxx did it as Shanae on Martin and Wanda on In Living Color, respectively. In the 1990s, Eddie Murphy as Mama and Granny Clump and the Nutty Professor franchise, the first film of which won an Oscar for Rock Baker and David Leroy Anderson's makeup in 1997. Tracy Morgan and Kenan Thompson on Saturday Night Live, Miguel Jr. and Joanna Man, Brandon T. Jackson alongside Martin in the Big Mama's House franchise, and Tyler Perry, they all did it in the 2000s and beyond. Dave Chappelle notably did not do it. In a 2006 interview with Oprah, the comedian, who was widely criticized for his overly transphobic Netflix comedy special 15 years later, shared a story about refusing to do a scene in a Martin Lawrence movie that would have required him to wear a dress. Despite incessant prodding by the writer, director, and the producers, Dave recalled he stood firm that he was uncomfortable with the idea and ultimately funnier than a dress.
Movies in a dress at some point in their career, I'll be connecting them down like, wow, these brothers got to wear a dress. This happened to me. I'm doing a movie with Martin.
Yeah.
The movie's going good. So I walk in the trailer. I'm like, man, this must be the wrong trailer because there's a dress in here. They come in. The writer comes in. I think he's the writer. He's like, Dave, listen, we got this hilarious scene where Martin's sneaking out of jail. So he disguises you as a prostitute. And you put this dress on, and what? A prostitute? No, I'm not doing that. I don't feel comfortable with that. That should have been in the discussion. What? You don't feel comfortable with it? I mean, it's a hilarious bit. All the greats have done it. So, well, if all the greats have done it, it's kind of hacky, right? You're right. So why don't we just not do it? Because I don't feel comfortable wearing a dress. Oh, come on, Dave. Listen, we got it all set up. We're supposed to shoot. Every minute you waste costs this much money. You know, the pressure comes in. He said, I'm not wearing no dress, man. I'm funnier than a dress. Just give me something funny to say. I don't need to wear no dress to be funny. What am I, Milton Berle? You know, we're going like this. And then finally he's like, and he leaves. And then, like, the director comes, Dave, it really would be great if you wear the dress. What is wrong? What is this, Brokeback Mountain in here? So then, wear the dress. I don't want to wear the dress. I want to wear this dress. You know what I mean? This is, oh, gosh, this guy's so difficult. They leave. Now the producers comes, come on, David, would be so great. I mean, and then I started thinking about it. All the comics that I've seen, man, you know, strong brothers, why are they putting us in these dresses? But the minute it was clear, I was adamant, I'm not wearing a dress. I'm not wearing the dress. All right, fine. Think of something else. Guy comes back 10 minutes later, the whole new scene. Damn, how did you write the scene so fast? You know, it's like, so you gotta take it.
Dave's resistance has been cited as a rejection of white Hollywood's supposed ongoing effort to emasculate the Black man. Cross-dressed characters being a leading example of a mass media conspiracy at work.
I believe it was a curse that went with that personally, because nothing went right since then. That's truth. No one can tell me, hey man, you thinking too much, man. You sit down, man. Everything went wrong. Just like everything went right. Everything went wrong when I put on that dress. Only Cat Williams. Cat Williams was trying to always say, Brandon, don't wear a dress. He was really trying to help me at the time. I didn't know that. I was immature, right? I feel like, dang, why I'm trying to make it. Why you bashing me? And then he was trying to warn me, you know, don't get in the dress. The Awakened Brandon, you couldn't pay him $1 trillion to get in the dress.
For the most part, almost every Black man who is famous for a woman character they played has said their characters are inspired by women. They and we know. For Tyler Perry, it's his mother and aunt. For Martin, the around the way ghetto fabulous girls named after luxury cars. And the same for Jamie Foxx. While obviously comedy at the core is said to be a love for and homage towards these types of women in our communities, the core is said to be a love for and homage towards these women in our communities. Perhaps this is true. I'm actually sure it is. But what is also true is that some of these characters are evolutions of what historian Donald Bogle titled his history of Black representation on screen, quote unquote, Toms, mulattoes, mammies, and bucks. And this, by the way, also goes for your favorite social media influencer who's built their following and career off of the same style of characters and caricatures as Tyler and Jamie and Martin and the rest of them. In one way or another, so many of these characters do not all ultimately mock a type of femininity and or patronize a type of womanhood. Maybe not always in totality, and just via a joke from here and there. But I think it's this confluence of issues, emasculation, and how these characters might refract and reflect Black womanhood that can negatively impact the livelihoods of Black women. The free social media app Vine was launched in 2012 with a platform where users could upload videos up to 6 seconds. The time constraint to entertain audiences meant potential creators had to adopt minimalist approaches during production, primarily by eliminating less important elements. With only a minuscule amount of time to capture viewers' attention, creators banked on relatable and humorous content. However, in attempts to create relatable humor, it was common to go on the app's trending page and see hashtags such as hashtag black people and hashtag white people. These popular comedy skits would over exaggerate stereotypes associated with these groups and often reaffirm the idea that white culture is civilized and black culture is dangerous. What is very interesting about these videos is that many of them were made by black creators. Black men creators such as Blame It on Quay.
Hello? Yeah, TT, I'm about to pull up and beat your ass, bitch.
Young Poppy.
Bitch, if you want a burger,
Bitch, a burger?
eat a burger. Bitch, if you want a french fry,
Bitch, a french
eat a french fry.
Timbe.
Man, Did he go to the rest of your shit, man?
What's like
Just leave
that,
me alone.
Tim?
Don't call my
Is that the
phone.
one who answered your phone?
Man, she asleep.
Oh, that's your
Don't
little
worry about
girlfriend? So you don't miss me no more?
I miss you.
No, he don't miss you. I ain't that sleep, bitch. Get your ugly ass away from this car home before you get dusted.
These videos are problematic because when white audiences see black creators making fun of black women, it's easier to deem. That being said, the app started to see a greater attraction from white audiences who were seeking this type of content. It was easier to dismiss the problematic nature of how these videos reinforce stereotypes about the black community, since it was usually black men making them and white viewers therefore supposed that the videos could not be regarded as racism. So white audiences, it might not be obvious that black men were still disrespecting women of their own race. Dating back to the Jim Crow era, American society relied upon a variety of mediums to dehumanize the black woman, whether through the Ajamama trope, the Jezebel narrative, or comparing depictions of black women to apes. These historical representations has unfortunately continued to shape black femininity. Janet Burns, in an article titled Black Women Are Reside on Social Media and White Apathy Damns Us All, demonstrates how these tools has been empowering. It sets them up for failure. They cannot explore their femininity or their interests independently and peacefully. Instead, they're expected to fit into dehumanizing narratives. This subsequently follows them to adulthood. Their desirability becomes a question of disgust and mockery. But we love black women, right? The amount of content creators who start their platforms online will not get near the traction they currently have without capitalizing on black women's humiliation. In either direction, black women will always be exploited. So where do we go from here? Comedy is a unique medium that has connected people primarily by providing an opportunity to escape reality and laugh at the world we live in. But when the butt of the joke is black women and when the demographic isn't allowed to raise their concerns, comedy trickles into our conditioned perspectives. Stereotypes that stem from mockery do more than harm the mental health of black women. They contribute toward treating them as less than. For example, black girls are more likely to be perceived by school administrators by disruptive or loud compared with other groups and are more likely to be punished for defiance. More than 40% of black women experience physical violence from a partner, and they experience a higher rate of sexual violence than other groups. I had to take y'all to school on the history behind all of this stuff or whatever, and I hate to be a pick me when it comes to this, but somebody need to say it. I'm tired of seeing it. And no shade, you can even tell people are not really interested in this type of content anymore who still produce content like this. They views don't be viewing, the numbers don't be numbering no more. And this no shade. Like, Blame It on Quay is a prime example. He have to hide his likes now because he used to get millions of likes on his videos compared to now. And you can tell people are just the comedy and like it's just not it no more. Now, I wonder how y'all feel about this because I felt like I've touched bases on everything. Let me know if y'all feel like I was reaching. If I miss out on anything, please let me know. But yeah, this is gonna be the end of this video. If you guys watched it all the way through, I really do appreciate y'all, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.